Alright, today it's like freaking miserable out, and it just does nothing but get warmer and warmer every day. 105. Even this one over here even says well over 100. Well, it says right at 100 on that one. But I got my pressure washer over there. I got to fix it, not my pressure washer, but my parts washer. I got to clean this up. Looks like a bomb went off in here. I got to get all these parts organized. On the flywheel on these Volkswagens, you know, they have shims. So what I did is I left the shims in their respective places, and zip tie them so I know how they go back on. That's a good flywheel. That actually looks like a relatively new one. I'm going to get this thing cleaned up and stripped down. I've got a plate I actually make for that. I'll get this thing stripped down, cleaned up, get the oil pan ripped off of it. My parts washer quit on me. This thing's been down for probably 7 years, but there's little lips right here that hold this piece in. You know, you push it in and then twist it and it locks, but the locks are broke. So I'm going to clean this up with some lacquer thinner, and I'm going to JB weld that cover back on. It's all I can do. New pump's 50 bucks. The parts washer was only 100, so if I can fix it with some JB weld, I will. We're going to get this one moved. I want to turn it around, clean this spot up right here where these tires and this barrel are. I'm going to back that car in right up against the building right there. You know, and it's the edge of the car is going to be right about here, and that's where that car is going to sit. I'm going to you know, get it taken down over there as I need the parts, and I'm going to use this car up. This was my plan all along to do with one of these, if I ever get around to it, is a 4.3 liter V6, either carbureted or fuel injected. These cars already have tunnels in them for the structure for one thing, and the transmissions in these cars are actually pretty big as far as roundness. But that was my goal originally to do with that one, was to put a 4.3 in it, but you get sidetracked. But you know, even if you couldn't get a radiator in up here, you could mount a radiator in the back, you know, close the back off totally. You can see through the windshield, you go through the trunk, but you could close that off totally, and put you a radiator in the back with a cooling fan and vent the trunk, and then put scoops, build you some sort of scoop system in the floor. You know, that's a pretty big trunk. You know, the back seats up there where that line is. So you can get a good sized radiator in here. You know, put it at an angle like this box is. Put your 3 or 4 scoops in the floor that suck the air up, and, you know, fill this deck lid up with a bunch of holes for the air to go out. You know, or side, you know, I'm just talking up my ass, I don't know. But that was always a game plan for one of these. You know, make a sleeper car out of it. And, you know, you can real easy get 350 horse out of a 4.3. You know, they use them for racing. So, that's an O-ring for something. Oops, exhaust manifold nut. So we'll have to dig around and see what we dropped and lost. Got to get this new converter off here before somebody comes up and steals it. Used converters or salvage yard go for probably $100. Let me get that bolt, take it in the building. But anyways, I got to get my toolbox. I got 3 boxes of tools back here that I keep picking up and never make it back into the box. So that's the plan today, is get that brought back out. That is the majority of my working tools go in there. This big gigantic thing here This ends up being a storage bin. Even got front end parts for my wife's car. New control arms with bushings. There's one of the strut bushings right there. I gotta get this picked up so I can move around back here. I got all my steel laying down there on the floor. All my steel in the back there. I actually used to have a Rigmaster APU on one of my trucks and built my own cooling fan setup. Brake chambers. Just all kinds of Christmas. This is all Christmas junk, people. Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. That's a Christmas tree. Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. When Christmas LED lights, there's more Christmas lights. When the LED lights go on sale for 90% off, we just pull a buggy up and buy everything they got. You know, when we do Christmas, our decision is, what color are we going to do this year? We have every color LED light imaginable to do our Christmas in, and that's what we do. 3 or 4 of them totes are nothing but LED lights. Rolls, you know, those big reels that you put extension cords on, nothing but LED lights. I mean, I'm sure that's all that's in this tote. You can see, getting off track here. Yeah, see, that's all Christmas LED lights. But, all right, let me get back to work. All right, mixed up some old JB there, product placement, and put some up under the lip of this. Cleaned it all up nice and pretty with the brake cleaner. You can see in my little brass brush. Roughed it up a little. Kind of just goobered it all around, hold it down, and then it just hooks up here with that little hose, which I got more of, and we'll let that dry for a few hours and then see if it'll go together. Okay, honestly, that's a pile of gear wrenches. I bet you there's 100 of them there. They all go in this drawer here. Well, there's some there and there's one over there still. I got trying to organize and clean them out. The only bad thing about these is you can't use them to break really tough, stubborn bolts. That's what you got those for. These just make the job a little quicker. And from time to time, it's good to you know, lay them in a flat, shallow pan or in a cup of some sort with the ratchet end down, and then, you know, submerge them in brake fluid or transmission fluid or something, so it soaks inside the gear assembly and, you know, keeps them lubed up really well. All right, got all my tools straightened up. Pretty much put everything back where it belongs. This is about how this box stays. This box is nothing but ratchet wrenches. I took all the regular standard wrenches with the exception of a couple of these and put them in the big box. Screwdriver drawer. You know, this is just all stuff I use virtually every day working on these cars. All my air tools down there. I got this tore apart down to the block, soaking with some paint stripper. That's the best engine degreaser. I'll push it outside in a little while and pressure wash it. And that block will be almost bare. And then you can see how strong it is. Look at it, it burns the aluminum. Got the black car parked in its final resting place for now. That's where she's going to stay. And going to put a wheel on this green one and see if it'll roll with 3 wheels on it. We're going to back it in the garage. And then after I pressure wash this engine, and then I'll put the engine up towards the front of the building, get the transmission out of the way, try and get this front yard cleaned up a little bit. I had it cleaned up once, and it's a problem when you work on these cars all the time. And then we'll go from there. All right, that's what we got to work with. Got it in the shop. On 3 wheels, no less. I'll show you how stiff one of these cars is now. Look at that corner down there. This car is not touching the ground. It's actually just sitting here. And we actually just pushed it in. The only thing scraping the ground is the sway bar down there. And you can see it doesn't touch most of the time, just when you push the pressure on it. But there's my pressure washed motor. Got to get an oil pan on it. I'll probably put a front and rear seal in it. The front went in minimum because it was wet. And there's still a little oil gurgling out the oil cooler pipes. That's what's dripping down there. Put a little kitty litter down there. Flip this motor over. Clean it up and get it ready. And then I got to order all the front suspension pieces for all 4 corners off the internet. This is what I'm talking about. I'm going to pull the rubber down. All 4 corners. I'm going to take those other 2 doors and that deck lid and that hood off and that fender. And I'm going to jam, you know, all of this out, black, up under the trunk lid here. I don't even know what's in this thing. Oh, all my spare parts. I'm going to clean this up, jam all this up in here black, take this deck lid off. You know, inside all of these doors, I'm going to take these doors off, and this fender, and this hood. I'm using every unboltable piece of sheet metal off the black because they're already jammed out black. And believe it or not, it isn't but a half a day's work to take the hood, both fenders, inner fender wells, all 4 doors in the deck lid, and swap over to this thing. But the first thing I got to do is get it in the building straight. I can move it around with a jack. Put it up on 4 jack stands and just get it stripped down. I got to take all this molding off. It's all screwed up from underneath. You know, this body has no dents other than it's got a scratch here, a scrape there, but the roof is in good shape. It's going to need a new grommet for the antenna before that starts to leak. But you know, the roof on this one's in good shape. Needs a couple interior pieces. Bumper isn't broke. It's got a good scratch on it right there. It's being pushed. Right there. Somebody pushed it. Jumped up over the lip. Why they didn't hit the deck lid? Yeah, they did. See the scratches on the deck lid, but this has an external latch. I will probably swap over to the black one. The black one is a key only or a push button on the inside. No dents, just scratches and mud. It's been under a tarp for the last probably 6 months. There you go. One project car.